Yo, let's go ahead quickly and move on into this, and let's ask the question that I asked you, and maybe we should be asking, the fans and the people around us. Should we have seen this coming? I mean, Philly. You heard the comments that Jason Kelsey said. I don't see a position on the Eagles that I wouldn't take over any position over Washington. They felt that they were far better than us, and the score is definitely indicative of that. All
Should
right.
we have seen this coming? And the answer is yes. I mean, let's be honest here. What Jason Kelsey said about how if you compared the roster, yeah, he wasn't wrong in all that stuff. We a couple months ago, I can't believe I'm saying a couple months ago, thinking about November, I did a pod for the Fans First Sports Network with Jeff Hartman, and he was asking me about the Steelers before the Steelers Commanders game. And I said, and he was like, talk to me about this team and how are things going? Y'all are winning. And I was like, the dam is about to break with this defense. Well, it didn't break until today. And that stuff poured over. And yes, should we have seen this coming? Yes, we had a loss of Daron Payne. We had the loss of Sam Cosmi, two of our better players on the offense and defensive lines, but that didn't matter. Right. We had a problem with the run defense all season, and that they torched us today. We have a problem with our secondary and our corners, and A.J. Brown was unstoppable, just like Mike Evans was unstoppable before. Yep. We have had trouble running the ball, and Brian Robinson couldn't get anything going. We had name another receiver that did anything out there. Diami had a couple passes, but January Diami went away. So yeah, we should have seen this coming because as great of a run they were going on, we've had holes on this roster. We were the least talented roster among all the teams that were left in the playoffs, and it showed today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, and what's up, Zach Nip saying, "Sup, fellas? Sorry about the loss." Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you for being sorry that you lent all your Georgia defense over to the Eagles, and now they wreak havoc on our entire team. Thanks.
Right.
Thanks a lot. 2021, 2022. Come on. Big Baby Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, all these guys make God.
Right. But he's right about his next comment, and that's what was exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we can look forward to. But in reality, to this game, yeah, we definitely should have seen it coming. I mean, obviously they were a fully healthy team. It was in the length, you know what I mean? And I if there is ever a game that should solidify Saquon as the MVP, I think it is this game. And the reason being, they made a statement. This playoff run, they made a statement. You saw what they did against the Rams, putting up 250 on the ground. In this game, for the most part, I think the only thing that stopped Saquon was maybe him having a little tightness, a little cramping from running over us all daggone game, and the fact that their passing game started taking over, and they didn't need to run it like this. But I thought what we saw on that first play of the game from him, his first touch, that I don't want to say that sealed it for me, but that definitely had me sit back and say, this is what we were afraid of. And that's when I kind of got that feeling, that sinking feeling in me, like, it's going to be a long one. It's going to be a long day.
That's exactly it. I mean, we talked about our keys to victory where it's like, you got to stop Saquon, especially seeing Jalen Hurts, and he was kind of limping around with that leg, and he wasn't the same old mobile Jalen. It was like, all right, well, let's see if their passing game can get us. And it did. Their passing game got us, A.J. Brown torched us. Devontae Smith, he didn't drop the first down pass like he did, in FedEx. But Misador said it, and this is part of it. We also contributed to getting blown out by the fact that we had 3 fumbles. And, the last time we played Philly, we had 5 turnovers, and we overcame it. But we overcame it playing against Kenny Pickett, And that's the part, we talked about the fact how, we know it was Kenny Pickett, but we also forgot to talk about the fact that we had 5 turnovers in that game that we were able to overcome. And that wasn't going to happen in the NFC Championship game against this roster from Philly. But also, you got to give credit to Vic Fangio. You know,
Yeah.
what did we say? We got to, one of my keys was you got to get Terry the ball. We talked about it. Terry got the ball, but just like that Thursday night football game when we played him in Philly at night, the Eagles defense was like, we'll let you catch 8-yard passes. You can have those all day you want. You're not going to beat us over the top. Whereas when we played the game at Northwest Stadium and Terry caught that touchdown over Mitchell, we were able to stretch them. But in this game, they weren't. They went back to their zone. They went back to saying you can have Zach Ertz caught 11 passes because they're like, take all those 7-yard catches that you want, buddy. You guys aren't going to – Terry's not going to beat us deep. And, Diami's not going to beat us deep. And they took that away.
Oh, yeah. And the other part about the reason why they were able to sit back is because they were generating so much pressure from the front four. And I mean, and God forbid they said maybe a fifth person around the edge or up the middle. I mean, we really, it just really seemed like we were caught off guard. Now, obviously, we know I believe Trent Scott was in there. So not having Cosme in that, the guy that knows, the checks and just kind of sees kind of similar to what the center sees, to be honest. We knew it was going to be some different. But this was, I mean, and for the most part, I thought they kind of held their own. But I mean, Jaden, I don't think in this game had a minute to breathe. I mean, not 1 second. Like as soon as he snapped it, he had guys in his face where he's all of a sudden now having to move out and everything like that. But more importantly, I think that the defense had timely sacks. You talk about one late in the game where I think it was 34-23 and we're starting to come back. We stopped them right after the half. And then it's second and something or third. Yeah, like second and 7, 8, whatever. And then all of a sudden, you get Big Baby Davis getting us that huge sack that makes it 3rd and 20. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, the momentum that we had tried to snatch from them, now all of a sudden we have to give it right back. They drive down the field, score, and penalties here and there could have gone either way. But far be it from me to sit here and try to blame anything on penalties because you can't give the team 4 turnovers and expect to win. Yeah, I mean, they had 28 points on those 4 turnovers. That says it all right there. On top of the fact that first drive that we had was great. We drive all the way down the field, 18 plays. I said it to you guys, 7 minutes off. This is what we need to do, keep them on the sidelines. And then they took 18 seconds to score. But but we still ended that drive with just a field goal. And still coming out of that the first couple drives that we scored, it was only field goals. You cannot match field goals with a high-powered offense, this high explosive offense like this, doing what they did. And I think the name of the game today was the problem that we've had a lot this year, and we've talked about it. We could not stop the run. Right. Over 200 yards on the ground, 7 total rushing touchdowns. I think they broke a record for NFC championships or playoff games or something like that. They came here clearly ready to make a statement. And this has been our Achilles heel all season long. And to Misador's point, Washington needs to look for interior defensive linemen in free agency and in the draft. Not having Daron Payne hurt. I mean, John Newton came in there and played solid. Jonathan Allen came in there, had a sack. He did what he had to do. But not having our full complement of guys and maybe some more disruptive guys, kind of a la the Eagles D-line, I think that played a big factor in the lack of pass rush from us.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we've talked about it all season long, just like you said. We haven't been able to stop the run, and they weren't able to do that again today. And the defense they couldn't. They were on skates out there basically the whole time. And what we did so well in that first drive of the game, we also then struggled later on. For the rest of the game. Misador said it really well, like, hey, you need to have a good solid screen game because of that pass rush. But you said it, they only needed to rush on the Eagles defense rush with 4 guys, and their corners played great. A couple times we tried to run our wide receiver screens. Think back to Terry taking that house in that one play against the Lions. The Eagles D was all over it. Now there were a couple times I was kind of like, my gosh, how many times are we going to get up in trips on the side? We know exactly what play we're running. We're kind of diagnosing it, and we didn't make it difficult for them. But the other part is they had solid tackling tonight. Part of against the Lions, we were able to catch and turn and run. Whether they miss a tackle, maybe we were able to juke the guy. That didn't happen today against Philly. They tackled really well, and so if we caught the ball for a 6-yard gain, we got tackled for a 6-yard gain.
Exactly.
And that just kind of changed where it's okay to dink and dunk and stream your way down the field if you are able to get more. But Eckler didn't break anything. Ertz wasn't breaking anything. He was getting first downs and then hitting the ground. One play from Terry is the only one where he broke free out there, and that became, it was very problematic for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, we talk about turnovers. That defense just played opportunistic. You look at the fumble by Diami where he catches it, goes up, and then tries to make something else happen. And they had one guy had him wrapped up, the other guy came in with the peanut punch, and that happens in a game. You look at Eckler. Eckler's sitting here on a third down, catches the ball, goes down, gets up trying to make a play, and then it gets punched out. I mean, and they talked about it in the announcers were saying that that's one of the things that Sirianni teaches those guys. Like, if you ever see a guy go down and then try to get back up, immediately go after that ball because he's still trying to regain his balance. So he's not thinking about protection, ball protection. So, and it showed. And I mean, look, we could try to point to this or that or what they did on defense or what we couldn't do on offense or vice versa with them on offense and us on defense. But at the end of the day, giving them more possessions, giving an offense like that more possessions is going to be problematic. Not being able to finish drives in the end zone, that reared its ugly head. We've seen that. We've had issues with that throughout the season. And going forward on fourth down, yes, we needed to do it. That fake punt that we did early in the game, you want to talk about having some cojones, having some marbles like that. Trust Way, MVP. I still say it. That was great. But you needed all that and then some when you're playing a team like this who was clearly ready to go. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of knew it earlier while I was watching some of the pregame stuff, and they just kept talking about Saquon. And I know he's MVP. And they just kept saying this is like a movie for him, and he just wants to repay all of the Eagles fans, and they got them here. And then the Super Bowl apparently is on his birthday, and I was like, I don't believe in scripts. I don't believe in the NFL rig and any of that. But that's when it was kind of like,
stars are aligning too much.
Yeah, this was too good to be true on this one. Right. So, yeah. We could say we could have seen this coming. But still, there are things that we could have done that would have definitely shrunk that margin, but also would have kind of maybe helped us in the game a little longer, than what we see.
But I'm also I agree with everything you're saying, and I'm also can sit here and say the better team won today, and I don't feel bad saying that. Like, we knew we were making a great run. It was a fun run, but to say we ran up against a better team, the better team won, and I am okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm good at it too. I appreciate all you guys in here in the comments. Misador, I see Janae, you're here. 50 Burger, Jay saying sigh. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, Misador, you definitely told me about the screen game. And shout out to Misador and the crew roundtable. I got a chance to hop on there this morning, and they were asking me, they were grilling me, and I gave all my best answers. Will, I was like, man, look, if we do this, if we do that, if we do this, if we do that, and they kept coming around like, but what if this happens, and what if that happens? And I'm just rattling off answers like, this is all I can tell you. But at the end of the day, you still have to line up and play. And what we saw was the better team came out and prevailed, man. Yes. So that's what happens.
Dun, 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 dun. Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is.